Hey, last video for the week. This will conclude week number 4, which is still incredible for me that I've actually made it this far and not dreamed up some kind of excuse or justification for not doing any more of these. But I'm kind of motivated now. But yeah, the last one here is a hero by the name of Mite. And I even remember that he was kind of very similar to the Gloved and Golden Guardians that I did. I had dreamed up another hero. He would be kind of a hero to the villain Atomic Ant, but I couldn't think of a name that I liked. And so he kind of came a little bit down the road, and eventually I came up with the idea of Mighty Mite for his superhero name. So yeah, here's the original sketch that I did for him. Got a dude trying to step on him and he's lifting up the shoe. So kind of a fun little doodle. So yeah, let's get into his 2025 design. So as you can kind of see there with the original little sneak peek, and like I've said this with many heroes, not a whole lot changed with him. Again, he was kind of one of those heroes that I didn't have a lot of not all the heroes can be A+ heroes. Not all of Stan Lee's heroes were, grade A heroes. Obviously he had multiple successes, but a lot of them were just kind of like, meh, these aren't really that great. And so this was kind of one of those heroes. It's just like, yeah, he's kind of cool, but I'm not going to invest a whole lot of time in him. So, but again, a lot of his character design hasn't really changed over the years. Kept it very similar. Once again, with this guy, I finally just gave him a backstory. Yeah, and the two little protrusions on the side of his helmet, I had it on the original doodle, and they're mandibles, not horns. I wanted to give him kind of like the insect mandible look. And that's why these horns aren't like coming out of the side of his head like quintessential horns do. They're more out of the bottom to kind of mimic mandibles of insects. And so, and then I kept multiple eyes on this one. And it's not that he has like multiple eyes or anything. He's just a normal, well, I won't say a normal human being, but he normally just has 2 eyes. But in his helmet, he built in additional cameras in which were our eyes to aid him as he fights, to kind of survey, behind him and all that kind of stuff as he fights other villains. So, and then you kind of saw there briefly, the biggest struggle that I had with this hero was his color. Like I couldn't for the life of me think of a color for this guy. And so I tried orange, and I think there was like a frame or two in the video that showed like I had tried like a purple and some magenta and stuff, and eventually settled just on like these 2 different hues of blue, and is what I felt I liked the most. I really kind of struggled with this one, and I almost kind of just gave up and was like, yeah, whatever. And but yeah, so the hardest thing out of this guy's character design was just fine-tuning the colors. So, but I remember at about this point as I was, as I was finishing up, I was just like, what else could I give him to kind of give him some uniqueness? And so I gave him kind of this ambient electricity that went around him. And it kind of does coincide with like his backstory and his powers and abilities. So we'll go ahead and get into that here. Let's go ahead and look at the final illustration of Mighty Mite. So yeah, there's the final illustration. And yeah, as I was kind of laying in the purple rim lights, I was just like, what else could I give this guy to make him look a little cooler? And so I was just like, you know what, just put like some blue electricity around him. So, and that kind of coincides with his backstory and powers and abilities. So let's go ahead and get into those. So Mighty Mite, his backstory. Through the classified program Project Paperclip, many inhumane and unorthodox scientific discoveries were brought back to the United States after World War II. While several of these clandestine projects contributed to humanity's rapid leap into the technological age, many others were shelved and never explored further. One Titan Initiative scientist, Dr. Jackson Dole, took a particular interest in a forgotten Nazi project known as Atomus. Building upon the initial theories and perfecting what had once been unstable and dangerous, Dr. Dole created an entirely new branch of science, one that defied the established laws of physics, and in doing so transformed himself into Mite. I don't know why I have the name. I guess I forgot to update his real name is obviously Dr. Jackson Dole. I'll have to go in and adjust that. And then, he's about 6'1", weighs about 187 pounds. So his powers and abilities. Through the use of a specially engineered suit, Dr. Dole can reduce his size, though not his mass, to incredible small levels. So he can reduce his size, but he doesn't reduce his mass. And this kind of creates a conundrum in the laws of physics a little bit. And so we'll get into this is where he gets his powers. And in one experiment, he successfully shrank to the size where he could ride on a human blood cell. So, I mean, he's microscopic in his size. Because his suit allows him to retain his full mass, this creates an enormous amount of potential and kinetic energy. So this is why I drew all that electricity around him, is because he's got all this pent up, stored up potential and kinetic energy, which initially he struggled to control. After several design iterations of his suit, Dr. Dole learned to harness this energy in a variety of ways, granting him enhanced strength, speed, and endurance. The suit can also generate a near impenetrable energy field capable of repelling almost any attack. And Dr. Dole can supercharge his strikes, delivering devastating bursts of concentrated power. So once again, as a result of this instantaneous shrinking of his size, but maintaining his mass, creates a lot of this conundrum in physics that allows him to generate this massive amount of energy. And through different iterations of his suit, he was able to control this energy in ways that he could punch now way harder, and he had increased strength and durability. And then that energy also creates a nearly impenetrable force field around him, so that he can explore dangerous areas of kind of like the microverse almost. He can't go that small, but inside a human being, there's stomach acid, or there's diseases and stuff. And so or when you shrink down that small, there's far other great dangers that normal sized humans don't have to worry about. But anyway, yeah, so he's, that's in essence the mighty Mite. So that concludes the heroes for this week. And I look forward to, as I'm looking at my booklet of all these original doodles, week number 5 has some pretty strong ones as well. So I look forward to doing those as well. So we'll catch you in week number 5.